They all have gold jackets for a reason.
For a reason. Yeah, they're kind of wearing a gold jacket today, so it's like an ode to them.
I got a chance to see Devin Hester up close and personal playing against the Bears year after year. And same thing with Peppers. I mean, played with him, played against him, just absolutely special. You know pass protection, right? I don't know what yours was called in Philly, but we had 300 jet, we had Scat 2, all that.
That's quick, 300
When
quick.
we played the Bears, we called it Pep Jet. Slide the protection to wherever Julius Peppers is at. If you're on the right, we slide over there. If you're on the left, we slide over there. We called it Pep Jet. He was just that type of player, man, correct the game. I seen him in practice, just rec practices. You go over there, you done got your 2 plays, you messing Aaron up. You know, he let us get some practice done. He was just special. But all these dudes, man, well-deserved.
I feel bad, honestly, for people who didn't get to watch Devin Hester. Especially now with all the rule changes. Like, you cannot understand the trauma he inflicted on teams. Like, why would you kick to him?
Yeah. And it's crazy you say that because playing against him so much, and I remember, like, our kickoff teams and punt return teams would be like, kick it to him, we got him. Offense, get ready.
It's all good.
Get ready.
It's about to be our turn.
No rest.
Man, he was different. He was
and then shout out to the Canes on the list as well. We love that. Devin Hester, Andre Johnson. Congrats to the guys. The Hall of Fame is really, to me, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is one of the most special Hall of Fames. Obviously, my brother is in it. So, you know, shout out to Jason, first ballot, no big deal. But I think that it's a Hall of Fame that takes getting into it very seriously. Not that the other ones don't, but we do have conversations about it, about some people that should be in the Hall of Fame. So it's a really special weekend, special to be a part of. You know, maybe we're going to invite one day, Shady.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
Hopefully it works out.
You know, it's going to work out. Just
it
make
will.
sure we understand for the party.
It'll work out.
Speaking of, we are here with the Eagles' all-time leading rusher, Shady McCoy. TV personality, Shady McCoy. Sorry, that's how we're introducing him now. Super Bowl champ James Jones and NFL analyst Bucky Brooks is joining us today, which we love. Thank you, Bucky, for being here.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. Now, let's get to it. From the stars of the past to the present, the NFL Top 100 lists revealed their top 10, and Tyreek Hill is number 1. He was followed by the reigning MVP Lamar Jackson, the Offensive Player of the Year Christian McCaffrey, and the man who needs an introduction, Patrick Mahomes. But he came in 4th place. So that is the top 10 list for the players, top players of 2024. Shady, is it crazy that Patrick Mahomes is a number 1?
No, it's not crazy. I don't think it's crazy at all. Every year, Patrick Mahomes can be number 1 because he's that good. If you had to ask me who was the best player in this league, it's Patrick Mahomes. We all know that. But this list is more of, okay, what happened last year, right? I think the Chiefs picked everything up in the playoffs. You know, I think the defense kind of led the way, and Patrick Mahomes put the teams away, right? So look at that guy like Tyreek Hill. He almost had 2,000 yards as a receiver. Yeah. That did almost happen, right? And I was saying this earlier is that, you know, last year, like, it should have been a situation where Tyreek Hill should have been up there for the MVP, right? We make it such a quarterback award. And not take anything from Lamar Jackson because he earned that award. He won it. But I just think that other guys, like a Myles Garrett, like a guy like Tyreek Hill, should have had a chance to win that award. So it's not crazy at all. I mean, look at this, the guys in front of him. You had Lamar Jackson, who won an MVP, right? We always say that Patrick is a better quarterback, better player than Lamar. But Lamar, that year, was MVP. So if he was number 1, I wouldn't be tripping about that either. Okay, and then Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. He had a phenomenal year. He balled out as a running back, right? He should have had a chance to win MVP, too. So all them guys in front of him, and then Tyreek Hill, I told you before how special he is. But I'd love to see a guy like Trent Williams. Listen, man, I know linemen don't get a lot of credit. I had a chance to play with a guy named Jason Peters, who's the best player I've ever played with, aside from quarterbacks. And Jason was so good. I don't care if it's DeMarcus Ware. I don't care who it was. It was a matchup, right? Shady, hey, don't chip my guy. I got him. And we talked about how you just said slide the protection to Peters. Or Peppers. I'm sorry, Peppers. Yep. A guy like Peters, he didn't need all that, right? I got him. So a guy like Trent Williams, he's that good. He can pull, he can pass block, whatever you need, he can do. So I would have him up there probably in the top 5, but I like the list. It's a cool list.
Look, I don't understand why everyone has been so outraged that Pat Mahomes was not number 1. I understand he's been a 2-time MVP, won a bunch of Super Bowls and those things, but it's not a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's supposed to be based on what you did last season.
Right.
If you look at last season, second lowest number of touchdown passes he had. He had a 92 passer rating, which isn't great, and for the majority of the year, the offense struggled. So I understand why it went elsewhere. You could say Tyreek Hill, you could say CMC. Both of those guys had fantastic years. it didn't necessarily need to be a quarterback because I don't know if any of the quarterbacks necessarily lit it up last year.
That's true.
Yeah. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Oh. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is on this list strictly because respect. That's why Aaron Rodgers is on this list. Aaron Rodgers played 4 plays. He's on this list because the respect of his peers or the respect for the other people, whoever's voting for the last 80. Because, Shady, I don't know about you, but when we voted for the top 100, it was 20 things on there, 20 slots on there to vote for the players. It was not 100. So these other 80, somebody else got to be putting this thing in there voting for these players. There's no way that you sit here and you say Patrick Mahomes is the 4th best player in football. There's no way. And I don't care if this how it shook up with the votings and all that from the players. Y'all seen what the dude did in the postseason. You see him go out there and win another Super Bowl. Change it. Because there's no way we can sit here right now and say Patrick Mahomes is the 4th best player in football. It just sounds crazy that we're going to name 3 dudes before we even name Patrick Mahomes' names. No disrespect to none of those dudes. Reek had a phenomenal year. Lamar had a phenomenal year. Christian McCaffrey had a phenomenal year. But the best player in football is Patrick Mahomes. It's either one or it's either 2 when you do this list. But there's no way you put 3 people in front of
Are you saying it's some hateration going on?
I'm saying it's some hateration, and if it's not any hateration, whoever is doing the rest of the voting and putting this stuff together, when you seen the run that Patty went on, you had to say, hold on. I know he had 4, he ain't 4.
But they voted before the playoffs.
That's what they say.
So they voted around like week 11 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's
it's just hard to say that, though, because of 4 plays, though. That's why I'm like...
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
That was respect. I mean, Aaron, he didn't
So that's what I'm saying.
So what I'm saying is, though, for all the other... I mean, it's 94. We talking about the top 10. Let's get serious here. I'm not talking about... After 50, I don't even... I made the list. I wasn't... At 30, I stopped counting, right? So we talking about the top 30 players. Let's use that, for example. So I'm saying with Tyreek Hill, like, I'm not mad that he's number 1 because he had that number 1 type of year. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football, no matter how you cut it. We know that.
That's all I'm saying.
If we go on year-to-year base, it's like, yo, this year, if you ask Pat, how you feel about your year? Now, they won a championship, so he's like, yo, great year. But as far as the individual stats, he'll tell you, like, this wasn't my best year. Yeah. So if you're looking at week 11, week 12, the Chiefs' offense was struggling. Right? Because you was a guy saying, yo, they're not going to the championship, right? Now, I wasn't, but you was. But that don't matter who's right or wrong. All I'm saying is, at the list, when the guys are voting, that's when they weren't looking as good. Yeah. And then the playoffs came, he turned it on. So, I mean, that's why I don't mind.
It's just crazy to me in respect factor because I know these dudes, struggling or not, when you play Patty, you know exactly
They know.
That's all I'm saying. So to say 1, 2, 3, and then Patrick, it just sounds crazy to me. I understand stats-wise what they did, but it sounds crazy.
Based on the voting system, though, it makes sense. Now overall, I think this is a...
You got the voting system right there?
This is, speaking frankly, a nonsense list. You have the players vote in November, December. You give them a list of 20 so that they're not ranking the top 100 anyway. It's the only way to get everybody to participate because it's during the season. So you're not counting for the postseason. It's really like, how are you doing up until this part? And then they don't release it until after the season's over, so it looks insane. But based off of when they voted, the people that did vote and take it seriously, it makes sense. Lamar was the MVP this year. Christian McCaffrey was Offensive Player of the Year. And at this point in the season, Tyreek Hill was on pace to do something that had never been done before.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that Patrick Mahomes isn't the best player, but it means at this point in the season, this is what it was looking like. And if you look at the criteria from that perspective, then it makes sense. Now, why we're releasing it in the offseason other than giving us content, wink, which we appreciate, it doesn't really make any sense. Like, this is a list that should either be done at the beginning of the season, predicting who's going to have the best season, or at the end of the season, evaluating everyone's, but how do you get the players to participate? Like, that's the problem. So the validity of the list is all of your peers voted on it. Yeah, but they voted in the middle of the season before the postseason happened. Yeah. At this point, Trevor Lawrence is looking okay. We know how that season ended. At this point, the Chiefs have an extremely struggling. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot that happened during the course of the season. Like, C.J. Stroud wasn't Rookie of the Year at this point. Like, there's a lot that still had to happen. So I just have a hard time freaking out about it because if I look at when they voted, makes sense.
Didn't you guys vote at the Pro Bowl one time or no? No?
I mean, which Pro Bowl, James?
One of them Pro Bowls, man.
Shady in the mood today.
You know, I mean, I'm just saying because that's at the end of the season.
I feel like we're doing a lot of gymnastics, though, to protect number 15's feelings. It's okay if you're not number 1 all the time. You don't have to be number 1 all the time. He didn't have his best year. Look, at one point, Pat Mahomes had 50 touchdowns and won an MVP. He had 27 touchdown passes last year. Like, based on his standard, he didn't play to his standard. Yeah. So how can we say, oh, man, we did him wrong, he should be number one? He didn't play like the best player in football the entire season, so he shouldn't be rewarded. There's no one that that's ahead of him that we should take down. Tyreek Hill had 1,700 yards at 13 touchdowns. That's a nice season. Christian McCaffrey had 2,000 scrimmage yards and 21 touchdowns. I'm just saying, I understand the respect factor for Pat Mahomes, but I feel like we're doing a whole lot to make sure that his feelings aren't hurt.
Well, I don't lie. I mean, this being respectful, right? The tone in your voice, I don't like that. Yeah.
You didn't mention the MVP though, stats wise.
No, but the first time you did your take, it was solid. Hey, Pat, phenomenal player. He didn't have that year. Cool. But we did on that because my thing is this: Pat is the best player in football, hands down.
It ain't close.
It ain't close. But if you talk about this, the voting on this the year, right? If we just doing year to year, right? Because I have years where Austin was the best, but I didn't have the best year. So how can I say, you know what I mean? Like we voting on a year-to-year basis, and then when they did vote, he wasn't dominating. So I'm okay with that.
Who had the better year? Because what's the top 10? The top 10 is?
The top 10 is Tyreek, Lamar,
so just
Christian
give me five
McCaffrey,
and
Patrick Mahomes, Myles Garrett.
It's 5 right there.
Chris Jones, Trent Williams, T.J. Watt, Travis Kelce, Max Crosby.
So he's 4, right? Mm-hmm. Did he have a better year than Trent?
He's a lineman. You know how they are with linemen.
Did he have a better year than Myles Garrett?
No.
So they're putting him up there at 4 strictly because they know what Patrick Mahomes is. That's why I'm saying, out of respect, Patrick Mahomes should not drop below 2. Just with what he has done in this league, and he won the dang Super Bowl. Because them dudes behind him.
He was going to win the Super Bowl at this point. We didn't even know if they were going to win a playoff game.
Well, what I'm saying is whenever we voted, Myles Garrett had a heck of a year. Is it Defensive Player of the Year?
He was.
He had a heck of a year. Patty's in front of him. If we're going off of what we're saying, Patty didn't have a better year than him at that point. The same with Trent Williams, and I know it's linemen.
But let's say that Garrett was in front of him and Trent. I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
I wouldn't have a problem with it, but what I'm saying is they're not doing that because of what Patty is.
Nothing's 100%, James.
I know that, but what I'm saying
only 100% is that Aaron Rodgers only been to the Super Bowl one time. That's 100%. Everything else ain't 100%, James.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, what is your biggest issue with the NFL Top 100? Because my biggest issue is that Aaron Rodgers is on there because you're 4 plays in, and this you tore your Achilles. Like, why would you be in the top 100 of players? It doesn't make any sense. You didn't play.
No.
And even based off of this criteria on this list, those 4 plays were top 100 worst. Like, it literally makes no sense. That is my biggest issue with it. Shady, what's your biggest issue?
I have a couple issues. I have an issue with elite players, right? That best in our game not be on this list. LeGarrette Sneeze is not on this, right?
That was my
how's he not on there, right? And then a guy like Trevor Lawrence, like what are you doing on the list though? We're talking about 100 best players in football. He does not crack that list. Another one, Aaron Rodgers, you didn't even play. Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal talent, phenomenal player. I give him that. Yeah. So we had a breakdown like, top 100 players in the last 30 years. Yeah, he should be on there. He should be real high. But we talking about what have you done lately? And last time we see Aaron Rodgers, he didn't even play. So it's like, how do these dudes get on this list? Who they know? I'm tired of the hype train, right? A dude like Trevor, Jacksonville guy, no disrespect. He's on the hype train, right? Like there's no reason why he should be up there with the elite players because he's not an elite player.
Oh, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get to that. We got another block. I'll talk about all that. I don't know why Trevor is getting so much hate, but we'll deal with Trevor the next block. But I will say, I'm kind of miffed at some elite players like Jalen Johnson, Pro Bowl corner.
Another one.
He didn't get on the list. If we're talking about elite, you would like to think, and you got to be within the top 100 to be elite, to go Pro Bowl, All Pro. So I'm just miffed that some of those guys aren't on the list.
Did Swift make it?
DeAndre Swift?
I don't think Swift got on.
Come on, man.
DeAndre Swift. You think DeAndre Swift should have been top 100?
Trevor Lawrence made it? He didn't?
No, DeAndre Swift. Oh,
yeah,
DeAndre Swift should have been top 100.
You seen him play?
DeAndre Swift should have been top 100.
All right, listen. I guess we've been funny. You seen him play.
There was no Swift on the list.
It's Ladarius Sneed for me. Ladarius Sneed was arguably the best corner in football. Whether it's after week 1, whether it's after week 5, whether it's after week 10, whenever you voting, he was a top corner in football. The Kansas City Chiefs said, man, you are on an island. Go get the best receiver, play man-to-man, and we're going to figure the rest out. right? He was the best corner in football this year, and it's very, very close between him and Patrick Surtain. But the Chiefs do not get to where they got to go without Snead, and that's starting week 1 to week 5 to whenever the week. So with him not being on this list, this is absolutely highway robbery to me because he was one of the best players in football last year.
I like that James said that he was giving props to their defense because their defense is really why they were going on that run, make the thing. So that's why Pat Mahomes shouldn't be number 1 because the defense, Chris Jones and Jerry Snead and those guys.
Okay, now stop. Hey, look,
what you're saying about Patty.
Patty is the best player in football. On this show, we don't play no Tom Brady slander, and we definitely for sure don't.
What slander did I give?
Yo,
show me the lie.
Yo,
show me the lie. The defense, held it down.
I don't care if
the defense held it down, right?
If the defense win the game, right, and Pat has 0 touchdowns, 0 yards, we're going to give him his respect.
Yo, guys over here like he's the boogeyman. He's the boogeyman. Like
my man, Pat.
He's Omar from The Wire.
OG tripping a little bit.
He's Omar from The Wire.
Pat come in. If you don't believe me, watch what the Raiders happens to the Raiders. They're going to find out. They gonna get.
Oh, the Kermit the Frog.
They gonna get belt to booty real soon.
Leave the Raiders out of this, man. Leave the Raiders out of this.
Kermit the Frog.
But yes.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.